Okay, so what is a solar gardener? Right there. Solar gardener is what we call, it's basically a combination of community organizer, project manager. Somebody like Dave Brosh or Gary Neistat gets the idea, has the necessary charisma to bring people together, gets the right skill sets going, starts the project rolling, figures out all the rules and the ins and outs of the utilities and whatnot, maybe has to go get legislation going. Solar gardener then jumps to the point of actually working on financing and building the array. And this has happened over and over again across the country. When I started doing this, there were a bunch of people who didn't know about each other. We brought them together under the umbrella of solargardens.org and the Community Power Network, and now we all know about each other. What this has been has typically been a 3-year process on the average. Sometimes it's 2 years, sometimes it's 4. So you've got 3 things. You've got your projects, you've got your policy, and you got your people. That's what solar gardeners work with. And what we want to do with the solar gardener training is make this process much faster so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel each time, and we get everybody to share information and knowledge and develop a synergy between all of us. So it's half a movement and half what we call a for-benefit corporation, which is somewhere between a for-profit and a non-profit. So all of these things support each other. You get projects going up. That's going to excite people. It's going to make it real to the policymakers, so you'll get some policy. If you've got people interested, they're going to go out, they're going to find projects, they're going to talk to their legislatures and find policy. And if you get Solar Gardens Law, well, that just gets everybody jumping into it, which is happening here in Colorado. So this is a positive feedback loop. This is what we call a runaway solar gardening effect. And what we're seeing now is the number of solar panels in the world are close to doubling every year. That can't sustain itself given some of the questions about energy cannibalism and so forth. But if you look at it, right now we're providing, I think, about one half of 1% of the world's power with solar. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but we're on an exponential growth curve. So that's the question. If there's say you have a pond and there's a lily pad in the pond, and the next day it doubles, so there's 2 lily pads, and each day after that it doubles again, so there's another lily pad, and so it takes 30 days to fill the whole pond. On what day is the pond half full? Anyone?
Day 29.
Day 29! Day 29. Gold star for Rachel here. That's right. So what we see is the exponential growth. It seems painfully slow at the beginning, but it's growing and it's unstoppable. And the solar companies are getting more power, more influence, and that is why the oil companies are desperately trying to crush the whole idea of solar in the United States. We're seeing this all this BS about Solyndra, even though we heard nothing about the Keystone XL, even though that threatens the survival of all of our descendants and every species on the planet. Okay. So there's all of these different categories here, and each solar gardener may excel in one or another of these categories. But the real job is to build the team on the ground so you can find your subscribers and get your projects going and work with your state legislatures, your city councils, the federal government, Senator Udall's working on this stuff and making the finance better, Securities and Exchange Commissions, so on and so forth. And these different categories here are going to be covered in the course syllabus. So I'm just going to open this up a little bit to the class. What are the things you need to do to get a project together? Joe?
Subscribers.
Subscribers, that's actually under people in my world. Anything else?
Need land.
Land.
Or surface, anyway. Yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
Or surface.
Land or a roof or a parking lot, etc., whatever.
Capital.
Capital. What else? You need labor. You need people to actually go and build the thing. You need a solar company to join in. What?
Yeah, the installer.
The installer, right? What else do you need?
Grid access.
You need to interconnect.
That's under policy probably, right?
Well, it's part of getting a project done, but the policy makes all of these other things possible, right? You're working on interconnect policy, you have a net metering policy, you have policies to support the labor and the financing of the projects to make it easier to get a permit. Oh, a permit! This can be a big issue.
And isn't that related to policy, though, too?
Sometimes, yes. All the policy enables all these things. The policy we're talking about your planning commission to deal with the permits, right? You're talking your city council, and the city council might have a municipal utility, right? And so then they can vote to simply establish a Solar Gardens program, or your city council might be on Excel and then simply vote to set up its own solar garden on city-owned land, which is happening in the town of Ontanito. Wonderful thing there. What other kind of policy? Yes?
PUC rules.
PUC. Ah, yes. Every state has a puppet utilities commission. What else? What else have we got?
Solar access.
Solar access laws. Good class. Anybody else?
Just a regular county commission in addition to the planning commission.
Yeah. County commissioners. What else have we got here?
Feed-in tariffs would be nice. We should all be asking our legislators to do a feed-in tariff.
Feed-in tariff is very compatible with community solar. The hotbed of community solar projects right now is Ontario, where they have a feed-in tariff program. And in Germany, I understand about 40% of their projects are cooperatively owned. So that's huge. And that's what we're trying to recreate here in the U.S. As we're fighting that, we want to talk federal policy too. We got this thing called FERC that can make it easier or harder for us in a lot of ways. We've got Congress.
We have IRS.
And the SEC.
IRS, SEC. Okay, so there's a lot of different kinds of policy that are behind this, and this is why we have to deal with so much green tape. Okay, so what are the things you need to do when you're getting people together? What sorts of things do you have to do to set up a solar garden? I know we've got some good solar gardeners in here working with the people. So what are the sorts of conversations that you have? What's that?
Return on investment.
Return on investment. So you talk to people about the ROI,
So education.
education,
Carbon footprint.
awareness.
education via the carbon footprint. So people's concern about carbon or climate, very important.
Attractive financing.
What's that?
Attractive financing.
So that's over here, finance. So that's one of the things. So that would go with ROI and finance. That you want to make sure that those are in place, which is one of the things I've been doing. I know people have been crying out for subscriber forms from me, and I've actually been working on putting these things in place. So there's a good. We're talking with some of our finance partners about how to make this work, where you can pay either upfront or monthly, things like that. So setting up a good program is a good way to go.
Joy, can I ask a question?
Yes.
We're planning to message like economic, local, sustainable growth, like local economic
Yes.
sustainability.
Yes. Okay.
I have a bit of confusion around the renewable energy credits. Like we're planning to say the county and the subscribers get these renewable energy credits, so it's like your own savings.
Mm-hmm.
They're not paying renewable energy
Where
credits.
is it an IOU?
It's a solar,
It's a co-op.
yeah,
Oh,
community
then-
solar garden with the co-op third-party financier, right?
Right. Yeah. C3PO.
Is that accurate to message that, or is that inaccurate?
I think that's going to be a really good thing to do, to talk about the economic growth, the jobs in your area, and I think the most important part of the people thing is to build your team. It's all about getting together the lawyers, the accountants, the attorneys, the people, the technical people that you need to make this happen, and that's exactly what I've been doing. So, how is this program going to look?
You know, another people thing is people need to know their rights. Sometimes their local utility, their service utility is not interested in letting them know their rights, so they have to find them out by other means.
Right. Okay. Know your rights.
It's a Clash song.
Yes, know your rights. And and occupy. Yeah. All right.
Well, just to add on what Becky was saying, like, I think low-income people really get ignored.
Oh, right.
With stuff, because solar for many, many years is still
I'm going to put affordable.
affordable, yes.
Not spelled right, but that's okay. All right. So we'll flip to the next chart here. And okay, so how is this program going to work? It's just going to be like any other class. You start by registering.